Thanks and welcome to the 6:50 News with me, Kejan Henry, at our top stories. Heavy rains cause havoc in Douala as the accompanying storm actually sweeps across the city, pulling down rooftops and blowing them across the town. And dawn of a new era in the Federal Republic of Nigeria following the election of Bola Tinubu as the next president to replace Buhari. Top stories.
Canal International.
Thanks and welcome back. Head up with our social media handles for the news in English. And we begin from the west region of the country, precisely in Fumban, where 3 suspects are presently in police or security dragnet after they were caught with many kilograms of cannabis. It is alleged that these people have been selling and consuming cannabis and wreaking havoc in Fumban. Details with Borinti.
The 3 suspects, aged between 17 and 47, are accused of giving sleepless nights to inhabitants of Mangwong neighborhoods and beyond in Fumban non-division, west region of Cameroon. Their constant robbery attacks stripped off their victims of valuables worth millions of francs CFA. Their last operation was a failure as it landed them in the dragnet of gendarmerie officers.
The crime wave has increased in the noon division. And we have discovered that this is due to excessive consumption of drugs by the youths. So, on the 22nd of February, some gangsters were arrested in the post of gendarmerie of Rive Gauche, and on possession of a great quantity of cannabis, and they have been doing these activities for quite a long time.
Specialized in the sales and trafficking of cannabis, the arrest and detention by the Fumban Gendarmerie Brigade has given a sigh of relief to the population who had expressed frustration and the fear of the unknown.
I personally promised, as the interim company commander of the noon division of Fumban, that I will relent no effort to continue the fighting and to arrest all those young boys that have taken as their predilection domain to consume drugs and to disturb the tranquility of the citizens of this dynamic division.
While presenting the alleged criminals to the press, the gendarmerie commander again cautioned the population to remain vigilant and collaborate with authorities so banditry and criminality could be completely addressed or eradicated in the noon division.
And thanks, Maureen. And in the southwest region of the country, the second employer after the government, the Cameroon Development Corporation, CDC, is bleeding to collapse as a result of the Anglophone crisis or the security conflict in the English-speaking part of the country, which is spanning about 6 years now. 36 months of salary arrears, and 30 of its workers have died. As a result, CDC is presently under oxygen or in a comatose situation. Details with Chief Correspondent in the Southwest, Ines Ongwabala.
At least 26 CDC casual workers have died as a result of the ongoing security crisis. The recent bloody attacks of Mondoni, which claims life of workers, is the highest since the start of the crisis, with devastating consequences on the agro-industrial company. The February 10 atrocity has once again affected the morale of CDC casual workers who, for the past 36 months, have not received their salary.
The CDC worker continues to question what has the war, secessionist war, what has it got to do? The 6 persons who have lost their lives, left their homes on that day, going to the plantation for no other reason but to earn their daily bread. I think everybody has risen up and said, enough is enough, we must move forward. These are workers that are being owed. But these are workers who have decided to co-own their company. And they serve it in this manner.
The Cameroon Development Corporation, a second employer after the state, is today the shadow of itself. With more than 50 billion debt, production have drastically reduced, with majority of CDC plantations abandoned due to insecurity. There is an urgent need for the state to put in more effort in revamping the Cameroon Development Corporation.
The revenue that CDC was making from the same volume of production dropped tremendously. We moved from revenue from sales to the tune of about 80 billion francs to 55, 58, 50. I'm very, very encouraged by the fact that the state has given us the assurance that the improved security that we require shall be provided. It's already being provided.
Though security measures have been put in place, much still needs to be done to boost the morale of the over 50% CDC casual workers who have braved the oath to go back to their company plantations. A high sense of resilience saluted by Franklin Goninje, General Manager of the Cameroon Development Corporation.
Thanks, Ines. Hundreds of Douala city residents are in pains after very wild winds and accompanied by torrential rains battered the city and flushing off their rooftops. Dozens of electricity poles were pulled down, causing blackout in almost half of the city of Douala. Morindi went down to find out how the situation looks.
It's almost 3 p.m. and this man is still battling hard to repair his rooftop after a heavy storm that came with torrential rains that hit the city of Douala the night of February 28. The strong winds that was followed by heavy rains pulled down hundreds of rooftops in many neighborhoods. From Bilonge to Oya, Kombi, and many other neighborhoods were badly affected.
You can see a lot of electric poles are down. You can see a lot of roofs that have been taken by the wind and the rain yesterday. So you can see that most of people are feeling bad because, to take those things back, we need a lot of energy, a lot of time.
The torrential rainfall brought down many electricity poles, plunging almost half of the city of Douala in total darkness. The situation is bad around the Expo neighborhoods. Here, almost 20 electricity poles were brought down, a majority of which blocked the roads like here. At 3 p.m., the fallen poles were still seen at the same spot, a clear indication that the people around these areas will have to spend another night without electricity. They have expressed frustration. The heavy rains last night pulled off my roof. Several poles were brought down. The situation is worse around Expo and other neighborhoods. You can see for yourselves, the electricity poles are all down. It's a real bad situation that we experienced last night. A torrential rainfall that came with strong wind pulled down everything. Houses were pulled down, poles, electricity poles were pulled down. We had a lot of damages. Meanwhile, meteorologists say the heavy rain is a pointer to the fact that the rainy season might begin in the month of March.
To Bone Pupa, it is in the Douala 3 district. Well, the population has been complaining of a very serious dust as a result of the abandonment of the road project that was ongoing. And Morindi once more says that the people have asked the government to make sure they resume with construction work, else they will not be able to come out, especially as the dry season comes with pulmonary diseases.
For over 6 years now, this dusty stretch has fast become a way of life of the people of Bonipopa and beyond in the $3 area in Cameroon's economic capital. The situation is worse when heavy-duty trucks constantly ply through. The dust completely englobes the air. Inhabitants say life has become unbearable because of the dust. They blame the worsening situation on the abandoned road construction project, which is still uncompleted after 6 years. For close to 7 years now, we live in dust. We feed, sleep and bath in the dust. We are living a miserable situation. Dust from the entire roads often makes its way into nearby businesses and homes. These traders constantly dust off the dirt from their goods so it could attract clients from a distance. But her efforts goes in vain minutes later. Even customers complain. Traders cry, disclosing it has adversely affected their businesses. The dusty roads has affected my business. None of my customers want to sit in dust and do their hair, so most prefer to go elsewhere, reason why my daily profit has dropped. Most inhabitants complain of respiratory ailments which get complicated as they are often attacked by other diseases also linked to dust. Helpless and frustrated inhabitants have again sent out a clarion call to governments to come to their aid by re-engaging contractors on the road project geared towards boosting economic development of Peka 14 and beyond.
And as Cameroon seeks opportunity or more partners to make sure it assists in its development drive, a Qatari delegation of Qatari and Saudi Arabian business people are in the country to scout for opportunities. They were at the Douala seaport today and had to visit the infrastructure, which they say it is very appetizing. Ambo Gladys.
A Qatari and Saudi Arabian business delegation is in Cameroon to scout for investment opportunities. Amongst their area of interest is the Douala Port Authority, where at least 80% of Cameroon's logistics operations for foreign trade and that of landlocked countries are carried out. To attract more traffic and improve competitiveness, the port plans to expand its new site at the Manuka Island following the development master plan of the ports of Douala Bonaberi. The project that was presented to the delegation needs huge investments. The business delegation from the oil-rich Gulf states has described the project as ambitious, emphasizing logistics is key element in economic development.
We understand that the port is one of the key drivers of the Cameroonian economic context, and this is in this particular situation that we are keen to see to support the Douala Authority in order to develop the project for the development and extension of the port. It is a grand vision, and we're glad MBS Global JD Euroway to be able to sustain and finance this project.
It was disclosed that by 2030, the port expects to complete 3 new berths to increase the capacity of the port of Douala Bonaberi by 23 million tons per year, and by 2050, equip 4 new container berths. Talking to the Qatari and Saudi Arabian delegation, the general manager of the Douala Ports Authority, Cyrus Ngo, said he hopes to see all this come to fruition with the impetus of investors.
Elsewhere, the American Chamber of Commerce Cameroon has briefed its members on the 2023 finance law. At the meeting that took place in Douala, the Tax and Custom Administration officials were there to tell them much about the adjustments in the finance law. Details in the following report. The 2023 finance law was under scrutiny as the American Chamber of Commerce explained adjustments in the law to its members. And as the tradition demands, their members were drilled on the grey areas of the law by the Tax and Customs Administrations of Cameroon.
One of our goals is actually to promote a better business environment for our members, and we have made it a point at AmCham to organize that dialogue with the fiscal administration, both the tax and the duty authorities, in order to share concerns from our member in order to also communicate and understand why certain laws are put in place.
The explanations of the 2023 finance law and the innovations are hinged on their contributions made in the crafting of the law.
AmCham made submissions that were qualified as very responsible by the General Director of Taxes. Some of these submissions were considered in the Finance Law 2022, and some others, he said that, well, he will progressively put it in place. And this is exactly what happened in the Finance Law 2023. We effectively have some of the submissions which have been, let's say, taken into consideration.
It was incumbent for the members of the chambers to grapple with the changes.
A whole litany of the changes in the 2023 tax law that the officials presented and walked the participants through. And again, I think that's the real victory here, is the ability to hear directly from the officials about these changes that will have an impact on the business community.
Worthy of note, the American Chamber of Commerce, Cameroon, has as primary objective to advance the development of trade, commerce, and investment between the United States and Cameroon. And Nigerians living in Yaoundé have welcomed the news of President-elect Bola Tinubu with mixed feelings. Of course, lots of them have expressed disappointments at the outcome of the elections, but then pray that he brings back the lost economic glory of Nigeria.
The wake-up news many the young Nigerians who met today Wednesday were blunt in their disappointment that 70-year-old Bola Ahmed Adekunle Tinubu, former governor of Lagos State, is the president-elect of Nigeria.
This election result, which Tinubu has been declared winner, is unacceptable to Nigerians. It's just a scam.
Tinubu is not our choice. We the youth, we do not need Tinubu in Nigeria. We saw all the fault, all the leaking.
This as they believe that the choice of the people was a popular candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi.
The people participated and they voted for their own victory. They voted for Peter Obi massively.
Our choice is Peter Obi, which is the winner of the election in Nigeria.
The masses want Peter Obi to win, but Bola Tinubu also has voters who also believe in his own ethics also in government.
His vision and charm, the foresight of most.
A man that is ready to change things for Nigeria, who say the truth, who bring out all the loopholes.
We need somebody that will unite Nigeria and make Nigeria to be in order, because we are suffering in Nigeria.
Apart from the about 220 million Nigerians, stabilizing the economy with rising inflation, crumbling naira, chronic cash crisis following introduction of new banknotes, systematic corruption and insecurity, the list is long.
He's trying to rectify Nigerian problems and keep this in order to make a great Nigeria. It has already happened. It's already happened. All what you pray for is a better Nigeria.
It's Bola Tinubu's turn to fix Nigeria. This all-progressive Congress party candidate is on a 4-year mandate, president of Nigeria, to run from 2023 to 2027.
Beatrice Ngamu, our chief correspondent in Yaoundé, bringing us to the end of this news. I've been Kejak Henry at Tembe, thanking you. And of course, Janice Kamga is standing by in our studio in Yaoundé for the brief. From all of us, it's goodbye from me.
They are living in total danger. Any